Hey guys, this is Skillin from Fast Fire News here with my Dragon's Domain Season 1 Episode 11 review, True Warrior. Now, this was technically the mid-season premiere since the show has been on break for a while. It's kind of closer to the end than a mid-season premiere, but the show took a break for a while, and this was basically the return of the series. So, starting off, I want to talk about real quick what I heard about the edits to the show. I had heard that the director had recently looked over the rest of the series of the season, basically not the series, the season, and had this really decided that he did not like it at all. Where it was going, or what was going to happen, or anything that was in the upcoming episodes, he thought weren't going to turn out right. And I heard that the show went through a massive rewrite, and they made a lot of edits to it. This episode included. So, I'll get to basically I'm gonna say basically what I think about the fact that what they added, basically my opinion on how I feel about them adding it, of what they added, basically, when I discuss that part of the episode. So, let's begin. Dragon's Domain's strongest aspect has been its strongest quality, I should say, has been its storytelling. The series literally is based on the story. That's what Dragon's Domain is all about. There's action in it and all that, but the real quality of Dragon's Domain comes from the story. And the story it's trying to tell. And lately, I can say that the past couple episodes of Dragon's Domain, I wasn't sure how to feel about this going into this episode, because the past couple episodes of Dragon's Domain have been interesting, but I've kind of been wanting something more. I mean, I've been waiting for those who have seen my reviews, I believe, of Dragon's Domain. I'm pretty sure the recent ones have been mostly 7s. I've been kind of waiting for something more exciting. And while I wouldn't say this episode necessarily delivered anything spectacular, I'd say it was a step up. So the moments we got this week. I'm going to start off by talking about the moments we got between Moonstone and Starstone at the beginning of the episode this week. There was some the moments between the scene where Starstone took Moonstone to that cliff where he had spent time in the past with Earthstone while he had been training. I think that these moments were really good for both characters involved. It showed Starstone's growth. It helped highlight his growth basically as a character. It was a nice callback to what Starstone basically had done throughout his life, and how he was now passing that kind of on to Moonstone. And I thought it was a really good moment for Starstone. To show basically how his character had changed so much, and as for Moonstone, I feel like they're doing pretty good with basically the relationship they're creating with Starstone and Moonstone, to kind of like Earthstone and Starstone. I will say, I hope that they delve a little more into this. I don't know if I feel that Moonstone and Starstone yet have the same kind of connection that Earthstone and Starstone had when we watched them basically train and everything, and him raising Starstone. I don't necessarily know if I feel that same thing with Moonstone and Starstone yet, and I think that's what kind of they're trying to aim for. So I kind of hope we get a little more of that, a little more of these moments, or at least try to highlight it and give us a little bit more of an idea of how the characters feel about each other and all that in their relationship period. But this was a nice start to it. I hadn't felt so far that we'd gotten a lot of Moonstone, of seeing him basically, other than the fact that they were trying to turn him into a villain, and I did not want that to come too fast. So I feel like this is a good start. I feel like that this week, the flashbacks were not only... It was nice to see Earthstone again. We got to see Earthstone in the episode, in the show. And then it was really nice seeing how Starstone has grown to be like his mentor, and then seeing a scene where basically he's showing Moonstone, he's basically passing that on to Moonstone, and they kind of just shared a nice moment there. So I think that was a good scene to include. And did not. I was afraid that they may have spent too long at first on it, because I was afraid that they would have to cut the rest of it too short. But honestly, I mean, I was really surprised they managed to fit in a really good amount of time with this, and to be able to take their time with this scene without shortening anything at the end. So I think they did a fantastic job on that scene, and it was great seeing Earthstone again. I really liked seeing him and Starstone together. Now, as for Starstone himself, he still is. I mean, he is definitely improving. This episode made Starstone a lot better. I've said before I was afraid he'd get boring, but this episode did not. I did not feel that at all with this episode. It wasn't even a concern. I feel like we really got to see a lot of insight into his character, and I feel like he did a good job of not seeming too stiff and dull in this one. He did a really good job of showing his personality and his emotions and everything. And I feel like he's really picked up, and I'm glad. I'm happy to see that. So yeah, so far things are looking good with Starstone, and also the relationship between Moonstone and Starstone. I think that it's looking up so far. I hope they keep developing this as much as they can before Moonstone goes rogue, basically, because I know that's coming probably soon based on the promo we saw. And all in all, I think that they're handling it well. I'm glad that the director did the rewrite and made edits to this, because I feel like this is what we need before he goes bad. Now, I mean, this is what's going to make it have the impact it needs to have. More stuff like this. So yes, they're doing a good job with that so far. This is what I feel like needed to happen. Now, moving on. We got the attack with the Dominance basically, and Zaytring basically the tongue tied there. Zaytring leading the Dominance. I'm pretty sure it was Zaytring leading them. And trying to find a staff for Deathkits. That I believe, which was, I mean, something basically he'd use against the stones. I hope I'm correct on this. Sometimes Ryan's Stone can get a little fuzzy in my head, all the mythology and everything that's going on. I thought the attack turned out pretty well. It was cool getting to see Zaytring, and it allowed for even more growth for Moonstone. The fact that Moonstone got to be involved was basically saving the village, and he got more moments with Windborn, and basically I like the fact that they're trying to give Moonstone. I was gonna say Moon Eye, wrong character. I like the fact that they're trying to give Moonstone more time with the characters in general. He interacted with Crystallis just a bit in this episode. We got to see him get more interaction with Windborn. We got to see him talk to Sunstone a bit, and he's growing a bigger bond with Surfstone. So I like that they're connecting Moonstone with like trying to give him connections with all the characters in some way. And the village attack really gave him more time to shine as a character. So far, I mean, we're seeing more of his personality, and I like that. We're seeing kind of more of who he is, and he seems to have a pretty strong sense to do good. So I really honestly am very interested in seeing where this goes, because at first when Moonstone was first introduced in the last episode that they did, I'm not saying he was introduced in the last episode, I know he wasn't, I mean, in the last episode, they did, ever since he's been introduced in the last, and since the last episode, I should say, so that it doesn't sound like I'm saying that in the last episode when he's introduced, because I know he wasn't. Since he was introduced, and in the previous episode, we've mostly been getting Moonstone kind of acting. He kind of seemed like he could go bad to me. I mean, we didn't really see him having the same, like, good. I mean, he wasn't like Starstone. What we saw Starstone was when he was with Earthstone, when he was basically becoming a king, where you could tell Starstone basically looked up to Earthstone and wanted to do good and be like him. You didn't really see that a whole lot with Moonstone's character till now, and if you kind of can see it coming, if it's like not even hard to if you can picture the whole thing and it doesn't even feel like it's off or going to have any impact, and you can totally see it happening, then there's not really going to be much a dramatic impact there. So I feel like this episode was good on highlighting his sense of good, and you can see that he does want to be like Starstone. So I believe he was the one, I could be wrong about this, I hope I'm not, but I believe he was the one who said that, basically made the comment, I don't remember the exact quote, but saying something along the lines of that it was basically his point was that he needed to follow Earthstone because Earthstone was the one who laid out the path. That was another moment where you could see that he does admire Earthstone and Starstone, and he wants to be good like them. So this episode did good on that. It's doing a good job of building Moonstone as a character. I know that we're getting close to the finale, and I know that I've heard that they wish they could have done one more episode to kind of highlight this more. So hopefully they get it right, because they're doing a good job so far with just this episode alone. Was a good step forward. And we got a lot of pretty good. We got a lot of good action in the battle with Moonstone and the other dragons. There was some and Windborn with the rest of the dragons, basically just basically the Lunar Sky the defense against the Dominants. We got some pretty good action there. So yeah, all in all, I liked it. I felt like they did a good job with handling Moonstone's character, and I felt like it was nice to get some action in the episode. So I think that I liked that this week. I did. I kind of wish Chris Dallas had a little bit more of a role though, because this isn't really negative because it wasn't about him, but he said he was going to go oversee Moonstone, and they didn't really show up till the end, so I kind of wish they had kind of remembered to involve him a little more, but it didn't really affect anything, because basically it wasn't focused on him anyways. So yeah, so far things are they're doing a good job with Moonstone. Hopefully they keep up that trend. Now, the other part of the episode the other side of this episode, I'd say it was pretty much as much of a major part of this episode as the Moonstone thing, was Sunstone. That this was the thing that was not going to be in the... Why I say not like that, but yeah, it's not a little weird. This was the thing that was not going to be in the episode originally, that the director added, and the showrunners, and the writers, added to it. I can say that if we did not have this, I feel like the episode really wouldn't have been nearly as good. Because I just feel like it added a lot. Now, I'll get to one thing I particularly liked that it added in a moment, but first off, I like that we got to see Sunstone. He has been almost non-existent up until now, and has had literally no point to being in the show. Literally, all you knew really about him was his name, and there was not much else to him. If somebody asked me on the street what Sunstone was like, if somebody asked me what Starstone was like, I'd say, well, he's the leader. He's the king of Lunar Sky now. He was trained by Earthstone, who is the former king. He's basically he's a nice he's selfless and disciplined, and he is a strong leader and such and such. And like if somebody asked me about Squirrel, I'd say, well, he's like a father, and he's a he's like a father. He's like loyal to Lunar Sky. He has a strong sense of loyalty. He is a tough warrior with a strong sense of right. And if somebody asked me what Starstone, who Sunstone was, or what he was like, I would say, well, he was a dragon who showed up, a stone who showed up, that the characters found. He showed up, and he occasionally talks to some of the characters a bit here and there. That's pretty much all I could say, because up until now, you really didn't know hardly anything about it. And he hasn't done anything. So this episode really did a really great job of showing off his character. I have a whole lot better idea of who he is now, what he's like. For example, that the fact that we know he does it, that he's not really interested all that much in being above other people, other dragons, that he wants to be kind of like them. Things like that just showed his character, what his personality is, and how he feels about things. And we saw a lot of Sunstone as character. It's like this is the episode where he actually became a character. So I really felt like this added to that, and it really helped with that. Now, I liked the whole Woodsvale thing this week. I was really interested in all of it. It was cool. It was cool seeing a new place on the show with new Dryads, and I liked Blaze and Dagger as characters. I think they were good characters that I enjoyed them in the shows in this episode. I liked them both. I think both characters were entertaining in it, and I don't know. I just really liked them both. So I'm glad we get to see maybe both of them a little bit in the next episode. I'm pretty sure we're going to get to, because I think we did on the promo. And I liked them both, and I liked seeing Sunstone. So I like seeing Sunstone becoming more of a character, and then kind of bonding with these Dryads in this different area, these ones he'd never met, and it was just really nice. It was interesting. It was really interesting to watch, especially learning they had the staff. I didn't see that coming at first. So yeah, I really enjoyed that this week. I think that was a big highlight of this episode, and I am really glad they added it, because it really helped the episode, and it just wouldn't have been the same without it. So, I think that this really worked. And one of the best things about this, okay, let me go ahead and get to that. The thing that I'm really glad that they added this for was not just to help Sunstone become a better character, but also what I really liked was that they made this episode was basically about showing both of the characters, Sunstone and Moonstone, and it was like showing both sides of who they were. It's like this episode was like both sides, and it was like you got to see both characters, who they were and how they were and what their personalities were in this episode. Like, both characters grew in this episode, and I liked that. I really did. I mean, without it, we would have just got Moonstone being built up, and we need Sunstone to be more of a character if they're going to do that whole Sunstone becoming the leader and Moonstone not being happy about thing. So it was fantastic that we got to see both characters and both sides, and to see how both of them act. Moonstone being the more aggressive kind of acting one, and Sunstone being the more peaceful one. I really liked that. I think that was awesome, that we got to see both characters, both sides of the characters. So yeah, I think that we got a lot of growth for the characters this week, both of those two characters, and especially then seeing them talk at the end and kind of having a little bit of a bonding moment was really nice too, and a really nice touch. It showed that they seem to have fondness for each other, which also will help with the rivalry kind of thing that will play out. So yes, that was the best thing about this episode to me, was that we got to see both characters, and got to see both characters grow, and more of who they are, and such and such. So that was the best thing, definitely. That was the highlight for me. Now, I think I covered everything. Yeah, I think I did. Next week's episode looks promising. All in all, this was a good development for the show. It was a good development for the characters, the storyline, it was a big step up from what we've been getting so far, which has been just interesting enough, but nothing really all that exciting. I felt like this episode had me interested, and even more interested than I have been lately in seeing how this is going to go. So yeah, this was good. I really liked this episode. I did. And I felt like the edits that were made to it were so much for the best. Now, as for our rating, let me think. I'm gonna go ahead and give this an 8 point. I think I'm gonna go with 8.4. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a solid 8.4 for great, because I really liked this episode. I think that this episode wasn't so much about the battle or anything like that, as it was just about showing off both of the characters and helping them grow to be more and be who they are going to become. So yes, for that reason, 8.4. I'm going to stick with that. So yeah, guys, that's our rating for the Dryads Domain Season 1, Episode 11. We have 4 episodes left after this one. There's another one coming on this week. We'll see what happens in that. It's looking promising so far. So, yeah, things are looking up for the series so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens from here. So yeah, guys, that's our review from FFN of Drano. And also, wait, I just said this. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, that's our review, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.